Hello, welcome to the BeckyinBoca show. I have a fantastic guest here tonight, Lindsey Muller.
I specialize in something called body-focused repetitive behaviors. So this includes skin picking, nail biting, hair pulling, and then some people engage in like cheek biting, like they bite their inner cheek. And interestingly enough, the way that I found myself in this sect of psychology was when I was younger, I actually struggled with skin picking, nail biting, and hair pulling.
All three?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
What causes these?
So it's a very niche area of psychology, and there are very few clinicians that specialize in this. But for a lot of people that engage in these behaviors, it's usually from boredom or it could be from anxiety. And some people do it and they don't even know that they're doing it or why.
Some people do it in their sleep, they told me.
Yes.
So
yes.
you have no control over that, do you?
Right. So in that case, we would work on like forms of relaxation before they go to sleep and making lifestyle changes. And then for people that are aware that they're doing it, it's more of an emotion-based behavior, we would work more on like changing the thoughts and in order to like rewire what their thought process is, therefore changing their feeling or their emotion.
Well,
and then changing
what
the
if
behavior.
it's from anxiety?
Then we would work on that. So like
Okay.
where is the anxiety stemming from? Like what's the story they're telling themselves? What's the thought process? What's the
Okay.
internal dialogue? Working on challenging those thoughts and reframing situations to where the anxiety gets decreased and then the behavior gets decreased.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's my specialization. And I often get asked how I got into it because most people have never even heard of these disorders before.
We all knew the kids in school that did that sort of
Yeah.
thing, the skin picking, the nail
Yeah.
biting, all that, but we didn't never
Yeah.
even recognized it as an issue that could be corrected.
Right, and it's funny
Just
because
the way they were.
yeah, and the truth is, a lot of people engage in things like when they're bored, or like you sit in a meeting and you like click the top of your pen over and over again. Or there was always that kid in school that would like tap their pencil on the desk,
Yep.
and you could hear it, and you're like, "This is so annoying. I can't focus." So a lot of people engage in repetitive behaviors, but
Okay, so it's repetitive behavior.
we
All right.
say that a behavior becomes a disorder when it causes distress or impairment in somebody's life or for somebody else in their life.
Or if
so-
it has a physical manifestation, I guess, like
Exactly.
pulling your hair out or biting your lip. And
Exactly. Or like some of my skin picking clients, they come to my office because they have severe infections. And like when I was in practice in LA, I had two female clients that came to me and they both were in the modeling profession. And they had severe skin picking disorder to where they couldn't get booked for anything.
So where do they pick the skin?
Face.
I mean, on the face. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Yeah.
To the point of injuring
Oh
themselves?
yeah, like huge holes that are infected, and
My.
and the makeup artist would say we
You
can't
can't do
cover
anything
this.
with it.
We don't know what to do. So they started to lose out on job opportunities.
Right.
So when it causes impairment in that regard, to where it keeps you from getting a job or being comfortable in a relationship, that's when people usually seek help and seek guidance. So that's when they find me.
Does
Now-
this start at a certain age usually?
so peak onset is usually between age 8 and 9, and then again between age 13 and 14. That's when we most commonly see onset.
Why those ages?
Yeah. We're not really sure. It could be, we can't really say like it's hormonal changes because that's 13, 14. Yeah, children are going through puberty earlier these days. So it can happen because of that. But 8 and 9, it's not the case for hormones. We're not really sure if it has to do with some type of social interaction with school. But that
Maybe
just
peer
seems
pressure?
to be
Is that
just seems to be what
other
happens.
kids?
It could be.
Yeah. Okay.
Especially these days, there's a lot of bullying going on.
bullying.
So
I was going to say that.
yeah, but yeah, that's a great question. So I struggled with all three when I was younger, and
wow.
The hair pulling was the worst.
And you probably didn't realize it was a syndrome that could be treated, right?
No.
You just didn't know what was going on.
Exactly, yeah. And if
Okay.
it weren't for my parents seeking help for me, I would have continued probably much longer. So
So tell me about the hair pulling. Do you actually pull it out?
yeah, so I started with hair pulling when I
You have
was
beautiful hair, by the way.
Thank you. When I was
Must have grown back.
When I was in 6th grade, I think it was 6th grade, I started. And yeah, you pull out one strand of hair at a time. And
Oh, wow.
I did it because it felt really good.
It felt good?
Yes.
In what way?
It's just like you pull out a strand of hair and it just gives like a sense of relief or release or pleasure. And people that don't pull their hair would never understand that
understand it.
because they're like, that sounds like it would hurt.
Yeah, it sounds painful.
And for most people, it would. But I guess there are some of us that were just wired differently.
Oh, my
and it's a
goodness.
form of like relief. or release.
I did not know that.
So I pulled out strand by strand, and at its worst, I was probably 60-70% bald.
No.
Yes, it that bad. Yes.
Oh my
and
gosh.
Fortunately, nobody ever knew.
How could they not know?
Except for my immediate family, because I spent tons and tons and tons of time and money with hair pieces, hair extensions, styling my hair.
Wow.
Yeah.
But your family knew.
Mm-hmm, but my family knew, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And then I finally stopped in 2007.
And what do you attribute that to? Counseling?
I got tired of it.
Tired of it?
I was fed up. I was like, this is making life so difficult for me. I wanted my hair back.
So what age did you start it?
6th, 7th grade.
And
so
you did it all the way up through how old?
Through the first year of my master's program.
You're kidding me.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
A long time. I know.
Oh, wow.
And it's
so
crazy.
Naturally you want to help other people that have this problem.
And it's unbelievable because, it's like as women, and especially like society, like appearance, I mean, I hate to admit this, but it's true, like appearance is important. It's like, it's not the most important thing, but it definitely helps so much.
It's the first impression.
With self-esteem and self-confidence. And so to know that like I was damaging my own appearance, and especially being younger, I was a perfectionist and I cared so much about how I looked. And to know that like I personally single-handedly damaged my appearance.
Wow.
I mean, my face too. I used to pick my face.
Too?
Bit my nails.
Oh my goodness.
And I mean, I got really good at makeup. I got really good at styling my hair to where I was able to cover everything.
Yeah. Wow. So there might be some moms out there that have daughters or sons that are doing this.
Yes.
And they're thinking, okay, what next? What do you do to help someone like that?
Bring them in to see me.
Bring them to see Lindsey. Not only has she experienced it, but she also counsels.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where it's a behavior that can go on for a very long time, and maybe it's been happening for a few years, maybe it's been happening for somebody's lifetime. And what I tell all of my clients, and especially parents of children and teenagers that are struggling with a body-focused repetitive behavior, is it's a behavior, and it was learned at one point, so it can be unlearned. But the behavior does serve a purpose in that person's life or in that child's life. And so we need to figure out what is driving the behavior, and then address the underlying issue as opposed to just addressing the behavior itself. And so I think a lot of parents might say, like, I get this a lot. A lot of parents come in and they'll say, well, yeah, I've been telling my kid, like, just stop, don't do it. Well, if it was that easy,
they would stop.
I wouldn't have a job and they would have stopped already.
They would have stopped.
It's really not as easy as that. It's similar to like
is it something that comes and goes in kids, or is it something that's constant?
Yeah, it can. There's definitely like a wax and a wane effect of the behavior, but it's very similar to like somebody that has, a sugar addiction or smoking addiction or alcohol addiction. It's not exactly the same as an addiction, but it's the type of thing where it's like you have that craving, you have that urge, you want to do it. It feels good. There's some escape. There's some relief. There's some gratification in doing it. And so that's hard when, part of you is like, this is damaging me. This is making life difficult.
To me to think that people feel there's gratification when the outcome is disastrous.
Yes. And that's the hard part. That's the other side. It's kind of like I do this and I feel good in the moment. You get that immediate gratification or that immediate fix. And then afterwards, guilt, shame, and blame. I feel awful. I hate myself for having done this. I don't like how I look. And it's just this vicious cycle, because then those emotions of guilt, shame, and blame drive more pulling or more picking.
Wow.
To escape from those emotions. And so it just keeps cycling.
Okay, so I know you've already kind of answered this, but what causes it?
It can be from emotion. So it could be from like a heightened level of emotion, and
maybe for a young girl, peer pressure, other girls
it could be
picking
that.
on them.
It could be something societal. It can be like an inner experience. So like somebody that just is highly anxious by nature, and they have just a lot of energy built up inside, and they need to get it out somehow. And this is the best way that they know how to cope. It can be from boredom. So in my case, I used to pull my hair because I was bored in school. I wasn't being challenged.
Wow.
And it was kind of like if Becky, if I told you to like go sit in a kids movie and you were like, I have to sit through a 2-hour movie. This is not keeping my attention. you'll probably find something else to do.
You'll
You'll probably
Do I have my iPhone?
You'll probably grab your phone, right? You'll be like
Yeah.
texting like, this is so boring. I need to get out of here. How am I going to sit through 2 hours? And the 2 hours goes by so slow.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that. So
Okay.
that's
Something to do.
exactly. That's what it served for me. I was like,
Wow.
well, I have it on me all the time. I didn't have a cell phone in school at the time.
Right.
I was like, I have my hair on me all the time. So it's easy. It's a go-to.
Wow.
So for some kids, it can be because of boredom, because they're not being challenged.
Now, let me ask you this. When you pull it out, do you pull it all from one area? Or do you move around so that you can't notice as much? I'm trying to picture it. Is there any thought process that goes into it?
So how strategic are we being here?
Yeah,
That's what you want to know.
are you thinking about what you're doing, or is it just...
In some situations, for some people, they do know that they're doing it. So like they maybe have gotten into like a fight with a significant other or a friend, and then they come home and they're like, well, I need to feel better, so this is what I'm going to do, right? And they'll make a conscious decision to
do
pull or pick their skin or bite their nails, and they may choose exactly where they're going to pull from. And then other people, it's not really in awareness. It's more of like
They don't
an
even know they're
automatic
doing it.
behavior, kind of like in a trance.
And like the what we were talking about today at the beauty lounge, the lip biting and
The cheek-
mouth biting,
yeah.
cheek biting is while they're sleeping.
Yes.
So they don't really know they're doing it.
Yes. Wow. Exactly. So, but to answer your question about like, well, strategy.
Yeah.
Is there a hair
thought
pulling
process?
strategy? There for those, I find that for most of my clients that engage in hair pulling, they have certain parts on their scalp that feel better than others.
Oh,
So it's
interesting.
almost like there's more nerves, or it's like a more sensitive spot, to where they may continue to go back to that same spot and pull from there. So I know it's like this
Wow.
whole crazy world of behaviors,
Yes.
and the mind
But
is
it's
a
wonderful
very,
that you've experienced it yourself.
Yeah.
Who better to counsel someone?
Yeah.
Because it would be difficult to understand how they feel if they hadn't experienced it.
yeah. So
Wow.
they say, take lemons and make lemonade, or whatever the saying is. So
Right. Exactly.
I figured, okay, I've been through all of these
Turn a
struggles.
bad into a
and-
good.
Exactly.
No, but you
So-
would understand.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
You would understand exactly what they've gone through.
Yes. And of course, everybody's experiences are different. I mean, no one's experience is exactly the same as mine, but there is a relatability factor. And I think that helps with clients that come to see me. They at least, I think, feel as though I can relate to them and understand them on some level because I have experienced it. But on the other hand, that doesn't mean that, like, for people that treat drug addiction, it's not like you had to have struggled with addiction yourself to be a good addiction counselor.
Right.
I think it just helps those clients feel
More comfortable.
comfortable opening up.
So what is
Yeah.
the first step if someone comes to you?
So
with this?
I do an assessment. I figure out what the cause of the behavior is, whether it's more automatic or whether it's more emotion and
Okay.
thought focused, and that kind of drives treatment. And then I take a lot of different approaches. So we work on thoughts. We work on understanding the relationship between thoughts, feelings, and then the behavior. We learn about like sensory components. So, okay, there's a lot of like sense of touch when it comes to skin picking and nail biting and hair pulling. Let's replace that and tap into other senses. Let's change the lighting in the room. Let's light candles. So like you tap into like the sense
I
of
see.
smell, the sense
Okay.
of taste, the sense of sight. And then we do a lot of relaxation. So figuring out how do we relax in a healthy
Because
way?
they would feel these episodes coming on?
Yeah,
and then
sometimes
you can
you
try
feel
to-
urges.
Okay.
Yeah, so a big part of it is just building up a healthy coping skill set. So building like this toolbox of all of these different things that you can use when you're feeling anxious, So like how do you take care of yourself when you're stressed? How do you take care of yourself when you're anxious? Maybe you go for a walk, maybe you work out, maybe you get sun, maybe you take a bath, maybe you go for a pedicure, right? So
Right.
those are things that you might do.
All of the above.
Yeah, you're like yes, please.
Except getting sun.
You're like, yes, please.
I stay out of the sun.
Yeah, I do too. Good job. For children and teens, they might not know what their go-tos are to relax.
Yeah.
You come home from a stressful day of school, or you've gotten into a fight with your boyfriend or girlfriend, and
I was going to ask
what
you
do I
that.
do?
Breakups cause this sort of thing?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Any level of heightened emotionality can cause urges and then cause an episode of like pulling or picking or biting. So it's really just figuring out, healthy lifestyle choices and what those look like. And so I do a lot of teaching and we do a lot of practicing, and then it's up to my clients to go out and go back home and practice these things and implement them into their lives.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Wow, well, you're a great resource then for people
Thank you.
have. She's got her practice here in Boca Raton. I think we have the number on the screen, 561-299-4911.
Yep, that's it.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, Lindsey Muller.
Yeah.
And where are you located in Boca? Where's your office?
So I am on Glades and I-95. So I'm in the corporate park just behind Seasons 52.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. It's a great location.
Yeah, really close, just up the street from here.
Easy to get to for anybody because you just get right off on I-95.
Exactly, yeah.
And
then I also offer online sessions too.
Oh, that's nice.
For people, because there aren't many of us that specialize in body focused repetitive behaviors, there's a lot of people that don't have access to services. They don't live near somebody that knows how to treat this. So I offer online sessions.
Imagine it's very rare.
I offer online sessions so people can see me from the comfort of their home.
So anywhere in the country, if anyone is watching or listening, they can contact you and you can do an online session.
Yes.
Okay. Is it like are you face to face with them online?
Yeah, so it works.
Skype?
It works like Skype.
Okay.
But it's a secure, HIPAA compliant, teletherapy type of service platform that we use.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's really great.
Does insurance cover this kind of treatment?
Insurance will cover if the clients see me in person.
Okay.
Yeah, but teletherapy is not covered by insurance.
Okay.
And then coaching is not covered by insurance. So like the date coaching stuff is not covered by insurance. So if you really want to find someone, we can make it happen.
Yeah,
but it's going to cost you.
Okay, so you can do date counseling for people that are out there dating, and I know it's very stressful. I have some girlfriends and male friends that is just trying to navigate the single life and meeting someone.
Yes, and I will say, because I did the matchmaking thing and on the West Coast, and I've lived in a bunch of different states. For those people in Florida that are single and dating here that think it's awful, it's challenging everywhere. I don't know if that makes you feel better or worse, but I'm just putting it out there. I'm a realist, so.
Okay, but they can come to you and you can help them figure out how to get out there and meet someone by putting their best foot forward and maybe screen. Like, I know a lot of women that always pick the same kind of guy and men pick the same kind of woman, and then they're never happy. Maybe you redirect their attention to a different type of person.
And that's a big part of it too. Sometimes we pick the same people over and over.
It's a pattern.
And we don't know who might be best for us.
Right.
So sometimes it's nice to have a neutral outside perspective that can kind of neutrally assess the situation and assess personalities and say, okay, actually you're like this, you would be best paired with somebody like this. So there's a lot of different dating tips and tricks and rules that we use. Like, we have like a rock and a star, so we won't like pair two stars together because they're both very attention seeking. We need somebody.
I see what you mean.
We need a rock with a star. So the rock grounds a star.
Oh, that's great.
So things like that.
You know a lot about this. Well, I'm going to say your phone number one more time for people on radio. It's 561-299-4911. And counseling for everything from dating to, what are these disorders called again?
Body focused repetitive behaviors.
Is this the same thing as like body dysmorphia?
So there is some similarity in terms that there's an anxiety component.
Right.
But body, and there's also maybe some perfectionism that's there.
Yeah.
So some people with a body-focused repetitive behavior do have perfectionistic tendencies, and that is also can be present with body dysmorphic disorder. But they're different in the sense that one is a repetitive behavior that's being engaged in, whereas with body dysmorphia, it's very image, appearance-based, and you're really focusing on flaws.
It's making us run. Okay, we done. All right, we got to go. Lindsey Muller.
Thank you.
You were very interesting. I really enjoyed it.
Thanks, Becky.
Okay, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You have been watching and listening to The BeckyinBoca Show. Tune in every Thursday night at 6 p.m. to discover all the ways to spoil yourself and have a good time in beautiful Boca Raton. See you next week.